Welcome to the Vegas Nose podcast presented by BuckeyeScoop.com. I'm Marc Givler. I'm joined as always by Bill Greene. We have another great week of football games in front of us, college and NFL. We had an interesting weekend last weekend, but we'll maybe start there with a little bit of a recap. Bill, I mean, you kind of label yourself as a non-NFL expert, but did you bounce back a little bit this past week? I mean, how did things go here, week 2 NFL?
Yeah, I think I went 1-2 last week, and it brings me on the year. I'm 3-4, so I'm hanging in there, and that's pretty good for me. NFL wise, man, if I can hang in there around 50%, I think I'm doing well, because that's just about what I've been over the years. NFL to me, it is so tough and, totally different than college. Even though college is not, I wouldn't call it easy, but I just think I seem to have a better handle on college over the years than I definitely do in the NFL.
Yeah, I went 3-1 week 1 in the NFL, and I kind of expected to get humbled week 2, and sure enough I did. And the funny part about it was the game that I sat here and I said, I'm taking this line, and I know it's a trap, and I'm taking the bait. I'm taking the trap line, and that was Minnesota +3 at the Colts. They got absolutely hammered, and so I sat there knowing it was a trap and taking the bait. So I am quite an idiot. that was a obvious trap line, and I took the bait. So that contributed to my 1-2 record in the NFL last week. Lost the Dallas game. I had the Cowboys -4, which they were -21 from the second quarter on, but unfortunately the 20-0 early deficit and then the miracle comeback and win there didn't do me any favors. And so 1-2 week, but sitting there at 4-3 through 2 weeks of the NFL, that's not bad.
That's good. That's good.
See if we can bounce back again this week. On the college front, I did bounce back. I only liked one game a couple weeks ago. It was Iowa State, and they got upset by Louisiana. So that was a terrible pick, and I redeemed myself last week hitting Boston College +6 at Duke and Clemson -45 against Citadel. So I was 2-0 last week. So hopefully I can keep the momentum going. But we'll start off with college as always. A better slate of games this week than what we've had the last couple of weeks. So we actually have, I think, some interesting games to talk about here this week. Bill, we'll start with you here. Is there, I'm sure you have a couple of picks. What's your first one that you like and kind of want to talk about?
Yeah, so far in the year, I've gone 2-1 the last 2 Saturdays. So in the plus, nothing to brag about, but 2-1 is better than 0-3. So yeah, I agree. This week's slate is more like a true college football slate. A lot of conference games, and now you're starting to see teams playing that we've seen them. So they're playing their second or third games this week. So the one that I really like, I guess I would say I like it the best, is Texas. They're playing Texas Tech. They are -18, which is a ton of points. I think Texas is one of the top 5 teams in the country this year. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're the cream in the Big 12. And I think, Chris Ash running that defense is going to make a huge difference. I really like the quarterback in Sam Ehlinger and, his experience. They just got killed last year with a rash of injuries. And I think they're coming back with a vengeance this year. I think they're for real. I think Texas Tech is terrible. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the 18 points with Texas here, and think that they jump off to a big win in their opener.
Big over-under there, 70.5 points on the over-under in that game. So I think it's one of those games where if you think it's going to be that high scoring, I mean, that obviously that would anticipate Texas scoring a lot of points to contribute to that as a 17.5 or 18-point favorite, I guess. So that's an interesting over to me. What do you think Texas would maybe have to score to get that over? I mean, do you see something in the what the 50, what 50? If they get to 50, they get
Yeah.
to 45, maybe he does it. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's the Big 12, man. They
Yeah.
run it up and down pretty good. So, a 52-24 game probably gets you over.
Yeah, I haven't. That's not on my slate this week at this point, but it is something I was looking at here. So, um, don't have a play in on this game either way, point spread or over under. But interesting pick. I know you're a big Tex. You've been beating the Texas drum, I think, all off season that you think they're going to be one of the teams this year. So,
Right. I'm a big believer in Chris Ash, and I think adding a touch of defense to that conference, with what Chris can do, I think makes the difference for Texas. And like I said, they're really experienced. And last year they just got murdered by the injury bug. It was unbelievable what happened. So, guessing that doesn't happen this year, and they stay intact, they stay healthy, and I think they rule the Big 12.
My first pick, and unfortunately I didn't get the line I would have liked to have had. It's moved kind of the wrong direction in terms of getting your money in later. But I like Army right now. What I'm going to lock in here is plus 13 at Cincinnati. It was 14.5. Would have liked to have got that, but did not. So I've got Army plus 13 at Cincinnati. I think Army's pretty solid. I think Cincinnati's still going to be feeling their way through this. Tough team to play. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think Army's going to actually pull off the upset, but I do think we could see something, 24-14, 24-17, something like that. Cincinnati wins a low-scoring game. Army covers. That's one I have there. Any thoughts on that one, or are you staying away from that game?
Yeah, staying away from it. The one thing I did look at there was the fact that if Army plays the way they traditionally play, and they've taken on the big boys, they had Michigan beat last year. Cincinnati's not going to get that many possessions.
Right.
If Army is playing the way they play, they can go on those 10-play, 6-minute drives where they take the ball from their own 9 to the opposing 30 and end up punting or missing a field goal or something. They get nothing out of it, you think, but what they're doing is, they're wearing down Cincinnati. They're keeping the ball away from Cincinnati, and they really do shorten the game. I mean, it's almost like a stall in basketball with them. So it's kind of hard to blow them out because you don't get the ball that much. You don't have that many possessions. So if I had to make a play in that game, I would absolutely take Army. No doubt about it. And so I think you've got a good one there. I was just a little scared off of that one because I think Cincinnati is really good this year. So if I had to make a play there, I would roll with you for sure.
Yeah, and I do like Cincinnati. It's not really a knock on Luke Fickell or Cincinnati. I think they've got another really good team. I don't know. Our Army seems to drive more talented teams crazy, and I think this is just smells like one of those ugly Cincinnati grinds it out type of wins, but doesn't cover. What's up next for you?
Yeah, this is probably one where you kind of hold your nose and you don't like it, but you hope it wins for you. And I'm going back to the well here with Duke. I was against them week 1, and they actually covered against Notre Dame. And then you went against them last week, and Boston College, rolled them. But if you looked at the yardage and looked at time of possession and stuff like that, Duke was done in, but they had 6 turnovers, and that was it for them. So they're playing Virginia this week. Virginia has not played a game yet. This will be Duke's 3rd game. Traditionally over the years, David Cutcliffe has been amazing as an underdog. When he's getting points, his record has been fantastic, in the past 3 or 4 years. So I'm going to roll back with them, figuring this is their 3rd game. The opener for Virginia. Virginia lost a great quarterback from last year, Bryce Perkins. We'll see, they're breaking in a new guy there. And I'm going to roll with Duke plus 5 and just think that they're going to hang in there, and they may even possibly win that game.
Yeah, that is it's good logic there. Do we get the Duke that played pretty well against Notre Dame, or do we get the disaster we saw last week? That'll be interesting. It's almost, I don't want to say it's a fishy line, but I do think in a vacuum you might expect Virginia to be favored by a little bit more. So it is, I think it is baiting people a little bit to take Virginia at that number. So you might be on the right side of this. That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see which Duke team we get, because I think we've seen two very different Duke teams the last 2 weeks.
Right.
I am going to kind of stick with my theme of road dogs here, and I have no idea why I'm doing this other than it feels like, I don't know. It feels like I should. It feels like everyone's going to be going the other way on this. I am taking Florida State plus 11 at Miami. That just seems like too many points for this type of rivalry game. And I think a lot of people, given what we've seen from Florida State and Miami the last couple of weeks, I think a lot of people are going to be on Miami. I'm going to take the 11 in a rivalry game. I'm probably on the wrong side of that, but it's not my favorite pick of the week. I actually have 4 games this week that I like, but it's in my top 4 for the week. Also kind of like the over there too, but haven't done anything with that one yet. But Florida State plus 11 at Miami. Florida State bounces back a little bit. Rivalry game, they get up. Miami maybe comes down to earth a little bit and wins the game, but maybe by a touchdown or a one possession type game late. Just that, man, I hate when I see a rivalry game with that many points. I'm a sucker for it. I'm going to take the points.
Yeah, I didn't have much thought on that one at all. I really, I went against Miami last week, and that was my only loser. Was I thought Louisville would beat them in Louisville. Miami is a road team, is traditionally not very good, and I think they're a different team with De'Aaron King. But in that series, I think if going back, I think the underdog has won outright, like a lot. Often. So you might be on the right side there with Florida State. Florida State was just a team that was just so hard for me to get a handle on it all. With this offseason has been a disaster for them. But like you said, they should be up and ready to play with Miami. And traditionally that game comes down to a field goal. So the 11 points, I like where you're sitting there. My last one is like a pick that I normally wouldn't make. I just think it looks too juicy, and when they look real juicy, they usually end up biting you in the behind there. But
you're not learning from my Vikings pick last week.
Yeah, no, I just don't see how Alabama doesn't beat Missouri like 58-12 or something like that. The line's 28. I think they're going to have that covered by halftime. I think this Alabama team is so good offensively. I think Missouri right now has 69 scholarship players on the roster. They've had a horrible offseason, new coaching staff trying to install a new system there. And I just think, Nick Saban has not gone 3 years without winning a national title since he's been at Alabama. This is year 3. I just think they're going to annihilate Missouri. I know they're on the road. I don't think it matters. I didn't think it would matter if the stands were filled with Missouri fans. I don't think it would matter either. But the weapons, they've got on offense. Matt Jones, really played well last year when he took over for Tua and threw for a ton of yards. And they've got Jalen Waddle back, Devontae Smith back. They're going to run the ball with Najee Harris. They are going to score. They're going to get their 50, I believe. And then, to get beat, Missouri's got to come up with 20, which – I don't see it. I'm riding with this. It seems like just like an easy square pick, but if I get beat, I get beat. But I'm rolling with Nick and the Tide here, minus 28.
Yeah, and you guys know we don't script this. We don't pre-discuss this. We kind of just want it to be a natural discussion. So even with that said, we've had a lot of varying picks the first few weeks. We haven't really either been on the same game a lot. We really haven't much. We are on the same game here, and I am also very high on Alabama minus 28. I think probably my second favorite pick of the week. I think Army's probably my favorite pick, to be honest with you, but I really like Alabama minus 28. I think I don't know. I don't know what the rationale is there. Maybe that it's week one in the SEC and just about anything could happen. I guess that could be the rationale. Alabama lost a lot of guys to the draft. They do every year though. That's what happens at Alabama. And Mac Jones is experienced at quarterback. They do have Najee Harris. They still have weapons. I'm a big Jalen Waddle guy. They still have offensive linemen. They're going to be just fine. I don't see them taking a step back this year. I do think maybe an overreaction to the talent they lost on the offense. I don't know, but I see Alabama something in the 49-7, 49-14 type of range here, and I'm with you on that one. I've got Alabama.
Okay.
So you got 3 this week?
Yeah, that's it. 3 in college, and I have 4 in the NFL. But I'm done. Yeah. Those are my college plays: Texas, right. Duke, and Bama.
I'm gonna sneak one more college play in there, and it's kind of going against the grain a little bit in terms of what I think of the team I'm betting against. So I am taking. This is another one. I wish I would have got this in earlier in the week. Kind of did the same thing that Army did on me. I have Ole Miss plus 13 against Florida. That was another one that was 14 and a half earlier in the week, which I wish I would have just done that. But Ole Miss plus 13 home against Florida. And I happen to think Florida's really good. I just think week one kinks, Lane Kiffin pulling out all the stops probably. I mean, this has probably been a game he's circled ever since, the revised schedule came out, that, this has been something he's been able to prepare for. I think they'll get a desperate Ole Miss team. I think it, could take Florida a little bit to figure things out offensively with some of the weapons they've lost. So I don't have Ole Miss pulling the upset, but I will gladly take the 13 points there and call it a day. Those are my 4. My 2 favorite picks again are Alabama minus 28, Army plus 13 are my 2 favorites. But I'm also going to roll with Ole Miss plus 13 at home against Florida and Florida State plus 11 at Miami. So I'm pretty big on the underdogs this week in college football. All right, well, let's move on to NFL. As I kind of already talked about, I came down to earth a little bit last week after a very strong week 1. I actually really like some week 3 lines, but we're going to start. We'll start with Bill. Throw one out there that you like here, week 3 NFL.
Yeah, I am going to go with Buffalo at home, laying 2.5 to the Rams. I do not believe in the Rams, and they beat me last week, when they went into Philly and rolled the Eagles. But, I just think Buffalo's really good. They're so sound defensively. And I don't believe in the Rams traveling back to the East Coast again, even though they've been really good in that situation. They've been good on the road, but I'm not buying it. I think the Rams come crashing back to earth, and I think the Buffalo defense strangles them. I think it'll be a little lower scoring game than people think, and I'm going to go with Buffalo here, minus 2.5.
I complained about, just in our last segment there with the college games, I complained that I wasn't quick enough to get on 2 lines that actually moved a point and a half in the wrong direction for me. I did not make that mistake on this game. When I saw the Bengals plus 6.5 at the Eagles, I ran as fast as I could to get my money in on the Bengals plus 6.5. I don't think you're going to get that anywhere close to that between Friday and kickoff Sunday. If you can, freaking take it. If you can get 6 or 6.5, take it. I think I've seen 4.5 and 5 now. But I was able to sneak a pick in there plus 6.5 beginning of the week. I think the Eagles are bad. I think the Bengals aren't quite as bad as their start would indicate. There's some signs of life there. I just think the Eagles are a mess right now. Maybe they'll win the game. Maybe they'll win the game by a few. I just, if there are very few teams in the league I'm not taking plus 6.5 against the Eagles right now. And playing in Philly this year doesn't really mean what it usually means. I mean, there's no one in the stands. So
right.
It's not a time zone change. I think there's a desperation factor that's at play for the Eagles that may be problematic for the Bengals, but I like the Bengals plus 6.5. That for me, that was probably my favorite line actually. And so we'll see. Am I being a panicked Eagles fan? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I nailed the Washington game at the beginning of the year, so maybe I've got this team figured out. We'll find out. We'll find out if I'm panicking and overreacting now, or if I've actually got this team pegged. But, yep, Bengals plus 6.5 at the Eagles. You said you have 4 games? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I have.
I think I have
3.
4 too. I'm looking at the list here real quick. I didn't write this down, so I'm kind of scrolling through but yeah, I've got 4 as well. So this will work perfectly. What's your second game, Bill?
Yeah, the next one I'm taking an 0-2 team, giving points to a 2-0 team, and I'm going to take Atlanta -3. They're playing the Chicago Bears. I've been really impressed with Atlanta. I mean, offensively, they've been amazing. Matt Ryan is playing great, tons of weapons all over the field. And, they totally gave the game away last week against Dallas. They were the better team for most of that game. They played pretty well week 1 against Seattle. And the Bears are like the luckiest team I've ever seen. I don't think they're that good. And this is more Matt Ryan against Mitch Trubisky, and I think Matt Ryan's going to put up a lot of points, and I don't think Mitch is going to be able to match him. And I just think the 0-2 team here in Atlanta is going to beat the Bears, and I feel pretty good about that. And I think Atlanta's pretty good.
There are 3 or 4 lines in the NFL this week that are a little fishy to me, and that's one of them. And I think you're on the right side of it. I think the natural instinct would be to take the Bears +3, would be to take the points. You got the 2-0 team. I guess my concern there would be how on earth does Atlanta, I mean, what happens on Sunday with them after what happened against Dallas last week? Would lead me to believe that they either crush the Bears or get crushed by the Bears. Like, I don't think that game's going to be all that close. I think it's going to kind of galvanize them, and they're going to get this done and put together a great performance, or they're going to come out flat and just, that's a tough emotional one there.
I think they're good, and I think they've got a ton of weapons, and I think they're going to score points. And I think Chicago, with that offense they have and the quarterback they have, I think they're going to struggle to score against every team they play. I mean, I think Chicago's going to have a hard time getting to 17, 20 every week they play, and I think Atlanta's going to put up 30. So we'll see. I think it's a good matchup for Atlanta. Comes down to an onside kick. I hope they teach their guys to go after the ball and get it. And I think Atlanta's going to whip them, and I think they could whip them pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That's going to be an interesting like I said, that's a big emotional thing there with Atlanta is kind of but they are a team that historically can just kind of you go up and down. I mean, they are a team that historically they can look terrible one week and great the next, and they can, they don't seem to be a team that really gets momentum. It's one of these teams that what they did last week you can almost throw out the window. So that would be, I guess, a team that you could see bouncing back from something like what happened last week. I am not playing that game either direction. I don't really care for. I'm not super comfortable taking the Falcons, and I'm certainly not super comfortable with the Bears quarterback situation. So I'm leaving that one alone. Another one I really like, I've got the Chargers -6.5 at home against the Panthers. I think the Panthers are terrible. I said this before on a previous week when we were talking about this team. I think they're bad. I think the Chargers are pretty good, even despite some of the stuff that's going on there. Herbert looked good last week. Cross country flight for the Panthers. No Christian McCaffrey. Where are the points coming from? I think the Chargers win that game. Again, 6.5 is a lot. That's a lot. This isn't college anymore. 6.5 is a lot to give up in the NFL, but I'm confident the Chargers can win that game by, maybe 10, 14 points. So I like the Chargers there. That's, probably, I said the Bengals are my favorite pick, but the Chargers are probably a close second right now. I'm looking at some of these other ones and that I've got, and I'm like, I think if I had to rank them, the Chargers might be my second pick. Bill, what's your third game?
Yeah, I'm gonna go against like one of my favorite players here, and I don't like doing that, but I'm gonna take Dallas +5, playing Russell Wilson in Seattle. Not sure Dallas can win this game. I mean, Seattle was in a monster battle last week with New England. That was a physical game. It was down to the wire, very emotional game. Dallas comes off the high of just absolutely stealing a game against Atlanta when they were not ready to play at all start of the game. I think Dallas will come out, play better this week from the start. And I think Dallas has enough firepower that even if maybe Seattle is up 10 with a couple minutes to go, I think Dak can take them down the field and get a default score in the end. It doesn't mean anything to anyone but me. So I'm going to take Dallas +5 there. I love Seattle when in the close game and when they're an underdog, but I just don't see Seattle blowing the heck out of them here. So I'm gonna roll with Dak and that offense that they can keep it within 5.
We're on the same side of this one. That's also a game I have. I have Dallas +5 as well. I am doubling down on the Cowboys after last week's loss where I had them -4 or 4.5, I think it was. That was pretty awful to watch because I really don't like the Cowboys. So not only did my pick not hit, but they also ended up winning the game in miraculous fashion. So, but I'm doubling down again. I think Seattle. I don't know that road trip is as tough given the conditions right now with the stands and everything.
Right.
I think Dallas is really good offensively. God, that over-under is awfully high at 56, but that's another one to maybe look at is that over 56. I think there's going to be a lot of points in that game because I don't know that anyone can really hold Dallas's offense totally in check, and I don't know that anyone can hold Russell Wilson in check at this point. So stay tuned to the message board. I don't have anything in on the over/under in that game, but I may sneak in an over 56 pick on the message board between today and then Sunday morning. So I'll be looking at that a little bit closer. But I do have Dallas +5 at Seattle. I think if Seattle wins, it'll maybe a field goal or something. But I think Dallas has a really good chance to win that game actually. So I'll take the 5 points. Bill, I think one pick left for you?
One more. Yeah, one more. And I'm glad you mentioned our message board there at Buckeye Scoop. We have got some really amazing prognosticators on our website there. And we do have a dedicated thread to college football picks. We have a separate thread for NFL picks. And we got some people that are really good at this, guys that I have followed over the years since I've been in the business, and a lot of them have come over to Buckeye Scoop from other sites, and there's a lot of good information in those threads that, if you like to wager money on Saturday and Sunday, these guys are good. So my last pick here, and with all, full disclosure here, I am a Steeler fan, have been forever. And, again, here's the 2-0 team, and I'm going to take the 0-2 team here. I'm going to take Houston +4 playing the Steelers. I've watched Pittsburgh their first 2 games, and I don't think they're that good. They kind of played okay when they beat the Giants, and the Giants were terrible. And they had all kind of trouble last week with Denver, and Drew Lock didn't even play. So, I think Houston +4 here. I think Houston's going to win this game. Houston is now in a desperation 0-2 mode, but you look at that 0-2, and they had to open up with Kansas City, and then they played Baltimore. Well, I don't think the Steelers are Kansas City or Baltimore. And I think Houston is going to win this game. I would look at maybe playing them on the money line too, and I may do that. May parlay them with someone else. But I think Houston +4 is gold. I'm not impressed with Ben Roethlisberger right now, his arm strength or lack of. I don't think he's come all the way back from that injury. I think Deshaun Watson is amazing. And I just think it's going to be a lower scoring game. And I'll take 4 with Houston in a game that I think they're probably going to win outright.
Yeah, I kind of I broke like 2 of my rules last week, and maybe that's why I was sitting at 1 and 2 at the end of the day last Sunday. Was I fell for the trap game in the Minnesota line, and then my other kind of rule on the NFL is like when there's like a line when it's 4.5, that kind of tells me that they don't have like Vegas doesn't have any idea. that's like the default let's just put a number out. We got to put a number on this game. We got to put a line out. Let's just do that. And I kind of fell into that with Dallas where I'm like, oh, I really like Dallas 4.5. It's like, that should I have loved it that much? I don't know. It has to be now or never for Houston, right? Like if Houston's going to have any hope of doing anything this season, that's a team that's competed for a playoff spot, most years recently. I mean, they're obviously going to have to win this game. So you would think a desperate Houston team, would probably be the right side of this. That line was another one I looked at. I'm like, I'm having trouble getting a read on this. So I stayed away. But you as a Steelers fan may have more insight, much how probably my Washington pick made no sense week 1. I think, you kind of trust me to kind of have a little bit of better pulse on the Eagles than maybe Joe Fan or whatever, of some other team. And maybe that's going to work here for you. Hopefully it does. I looked at that game. I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. So that was an easy pass for me. So we'll hopefully you nail that one. And, I guess for you, it'd be perfect if the Steelers could just win on a last-minute field goal. You'd be set.
I don't know because I'm probably going to have Houston on the money line.
Oh gosh, well, you're going to complicate even more. Just take the points.
Yeah. I'll be seeing a psychiatrist on Monday after that. So we'll see what happens. But I really like Houston in this game a lot.
Yep. My last pick, and this is going to be a great game. So if for no other reason, then it's going to be an amazing game, and I just want to have a little bit of extra riding on it. I am going Chiefs +3.5 at the Ravens on Monday night. I don't know. I think Kansas City's a great team. Baltimore obviously has looked fantastic so far, but I think Kansas City has also looked pretty darn good, and I think they'll. Big emotional, last second win, right? Last week against, was that the Chargers?
Against the Chargers, yeah.
Yeah, they were down and came back, and, I think they'll be amped up for this one. These two teams, I don't think there's going to be a letdown here. I think, these two teams are going to be ready to go. It's Monday night. I think a lot of people think this could be, an AFC championship type of preview. Going to be a great game. I will take the points. I will take Kansas City. Obviously, Kansas City has a great chance of winning every game they play. So if you can get them, +3.5, how can I pass that up? So I am going to go and take the points there. Should be an amazing game. I'm really looking forward to that one. I did mention I might sneak in an over/under pick on the Dallas game on the message board. There's another game that I haven't done anything with yet, and keep an eye on the BuckeyeScoop.com message board this weekend because I'm going to continue to look at this one as well. And the 49ers are now -3.5 at the Giants. And I know the worst injury bug ever happened to them last week, but the Giants also lost Saquon Barkley. And I'm not sure they're any good. And I'm not sure that, Garoppolo I think is still questionable. I don't know that Garoppolo makes that whole thing go that much. I still think there's enough talent there to possibly get that done, but I have not played that yet. So don't put that one down for me yet. But again, much like the Cowboys, Seahawks over, keep an eye on the message board and see if I I'm considering it. I may see how things go on Saturday for me before I start to pick apart one or two of these other NFL games. That's another one I'm kind of looking at right now. Is there anything else you're looking at, Bill, that you haven't done anything with it yet, but you might keep an eye on it, and if you get some momentum going, you may look at it, or are you pretty much set in your ways at this point?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty set right now. But we've got some time here yet. So, like I say, as long as we have that message board threads going, we can sneak in there, at any time and add a pick. So I'm rolling with these 3 college, 4 in the NFL for now. But you never know. I may fire something else in there.
Yep, we'll see. Look, I'm looking forward to. Look, I like more NFL games this weekend than any of the previous 2 weeks. I'm playing. I've played 4 to this point, and there's a couple more I like or I'm looking at. So I like more NFL games this weekend than any weekend so far. And I think this is the best weekend of college football so far as well. So I am really looking forward to the weekend. Good luck, guys, to all you guys out there who are playing these games, whether it's real money, fake money, whatever it is. But good luck to your teams. Good luck with your picks. And thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.